Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Today's dark tale concerns a young woman who's afraid of her own shadow. Something my mindless minion Helenor can identify with.
Shadows scare me.
In the case of tonight's petrified protagonist, they're quite justified in this normally irrational fear. This tiny terror tale is called My Shadow is Trying to Kill Me.
This was a fun project. My Shadow is Trying to Kill Me. It's Morgan Yamada here who's playing the main character. Morgan is a wonderful actor that did a really good job in this and some of the other projects I've done. This was it was a standalone one. This wasn't part of Horror Day or Horror Weekend. This was just something I came up with, and I got a crew together. I think this was the first time that I worked with Sam Reed, who went on to shoot a bunch of my projects. He was director of photography on this. And this was a lot of fun to shoot. We did it in one day, I think, and yeah, it turned out quite well.
If I look away, it will get me. My shadow.
I think we added that shadow digitally, I think.
Follows me everywhere. There it is.
That one's not digital. And as you recognize, this is
when I watch
shot
TV,
in my apartment. My
it's
old
on the
apartment.
wall behind me, watching. It watches me in my bedroom when I get into bed, but it disappears when I turn out the light. But I know it's there, watching me sleep.
There's a lot of good shots in
its
this
time.
too.
I can feel the evil of its presence. I know it wants to kill me, but I won't let it. I haven't slept in days. The next time I do, I know it'll kill me.
And here we have Skylar Radzian, who's in a few of these. She's another great actor who has since moved to Vancouver, and she's been on Supernatural and Riverdale and a bunch of bigger shows like that, so she's doing very well for herself. As you can see on the right there, that's my DVD, and that's my DVD collection, or part of it. And then on the right on those shelves, those are the comic books that I've written and published.
Why is it so dark in here? Darla.
And this, I can't remember who did the special effects here, but I usually don't like to use a lot of kind of like digital visual effects like this, but we did for this one. Yeah, that was a pretty short one. It was effective, though.
Makes me wonder how Darla's predicament came to be. What could she have done to anger her shadow so?
Yeah, and like Ezzera just said there, she wonders how that started. It's I kind of like to leave a lot of these where it just leaves a lot up to the imagination. You don't know kind of why it's happening. This is just kind of like a piece of the story. So I suppose they could all be expanded into a feature at some point if I decided to do that.
What do you think, Helenor?
Her roommate put a curse on her.
For what reason? Quarreling over a mutual love interest? Not everyone's love life is fraught with drama like yours, Helenor.
And it's kind of funny because you don't think a lot about it here, but they're starting to hint at the drama between these two that happens at the end of the movie. Right now it just seems like just kind of things they're saying, but it's actually turns out to be important.
Poor Helenor.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's short picture is brief indeed. Blink, and you'll miss it. This piece is called Ruby in the White Van. Predators, beware.
Yeah, so this is Ruby in the White Van. A lot of people really like this. This was part of Horror Day, where we shot the 5 short horrors in one day. I think this was the first one we did. Sam Reed was the DP on it. And he came up with the idea of shooting this in the different aspect ratio. And this was a van. We rented the van from U-Haul, and we had to like basically remove all the U-Haul decals, and then someone added in the rust and stuff digitally.
Hi, what's your name?
Ruby.
And that's the guy in the van is Cody Lightning. He's actually I just saw a picture on Facebook of him today. He's like was in LA. He was involved in some new Marvel movie or TV show or something that he was at like the premiere for. So he's a hilarious guy, and he's doing some great things.
Want to come inside and see a puppy?
Sure.
And that's Ruby. I've always kind of wanted to do more stuff with Ruby. Of course, this young girl here, she's a teenager now, so it kind of, we missed, she grew up too fast, so we kind of missed our chance to do more with her. But I've always kind of wanted to do a comic book based on this character. So I'll add that to my list of things I'll do one day. So yeah, that was a very short one, but it's kind of funny and people like it.
So what is Ruby? A werewolf? A monster? A sadistic cannibal? Right the station with your thoughts.
She's a werelion.
You're stupid, Eleanor.
A werelion. I like that.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's offering concerns ghosts and flowers. I have men lining up to give me flowers, but poor loveless Eleanor has never touched one she hasn't plucked herself. Perhaps that's what torments tonight's ghost. See for yourself in Bouquet of Decay.
I had a man buy me flowers.
Who? Your Satanist ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Be quiet, Eleanor. Everything you touch is contaminated with gore and filth, whether man or flower. Now, let the people watch.
So this one, Bouquet of Decay, this was another one that was part of Horror Day. And I had partnered with Kristen Breitkreitz for these. And she wrote 2 of them. This is one of them. And she directed a couple. I think, maybe she only directed one. I can't remember. You can check the credits on IMDb. But this is one of the ones. Like she has a different writing style than me. So you kind of tell if you really know me or know my stuff, you can kind of tell when something isn't something I would do, and this is one of them. So this one's very short, and it's kind of cool, and it's got a scary ghost woman in it, but it's definitely not my type of story.
How are you holding up?
I'm fine.
Where'd you get those? Grocery store. They're nice flowers. Are they for...
And it's kind of funny because most of these, or all of these Horror Day ones were filmed in my apartment, but we didn't want it to look exactly the same for everyone, so we kind of just rearranged the furniture and did some slight set deck stuff. Skylar actually helped out a lot with that. So, we kind of finished one film and then we'd rearrange the furniture and put some new stuff out, trying to hide the fact that it's the same small apartment for every single one. For some reason, this shot was hard because she would set that like black flower down and then it kept falling off or something would happen, and it was actually harder than we thought just to get this last shot here.
This one gives me much to think about. Eleanor, go fetch some wine.
Yes, Miss Eve.
That's Mistress Eve to you, Eleanor.
Yeah, Julia does such a good job of delivering these lines. It really makes the character.
What a bitch.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's venture into the paranormal gives quite the life lesson. Choose your friends wisely. Better to be alone like poor Eleanor than have friends like those in tonight's story.
Nobody likes me.
And I kind of like their little banter here, and Ezra's just always kind of giving these little digs at Eleanor, just slowly abusing her over the however long it took to film these until one day Eleanor snaps.
Oh, could be worse, Eleanor. Now go draw me a bath. And not too hot this time, or I'll drown you in it.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Paige herself who came up with the name Eleanor. I remember when I kind of first came up with this concept, I met with Julia and Paige separately to kind of pitch them the idea and get their thoughts on it and stuff. And I think I knew the name. I had the name Gore-Girl, but I wanted to think of a first name. And I'm pretty sure Paige was the one that came up with Eleanor.
Tonight's oddly titled film is called simply Haunting the Apartment.
And it's kind of funny because I call this one Haunting the Apartment, which is supposed to be a working title. I kind of based it on the Slayer album, Haunting the Chapel. Maybe I was listening to it at the time or something, and so I called it Haunting the Apartment with the intention of thinking of a better title at some point. And eventually we filmed it, and then I just couldn't think of a new title, or I never bothered, and we called it Haunting the Apartment, which is a pretty bad title, but whatever, it is what it is. And here we're back in my apartment. This was another horror day one, so you can see my DVD and comic book collection there. And here we have Skylar again.
Hey guys. We have to call the cops.
We are not calling the cops. Do you want to go to prison?
We'll tell them it was an accident.
No.
The hell are you guys talking about?
And there's Julio Mateo there on the right. He was in a bunch of my earlier stuff. He's doesn't seem to be acting much anymore, but he was always fun to have. There's Heidi there on the left. I haven't worked with her in a while either.
Why did you have to hit her so hard? You were just supposed to scare her.
Do not blame me. We are all in on this.
Okay. Can you guys please fill me in on whatever it is that you're talking about? Well, we have to do something. We can't just leave her on my bed.
Just shut up. Let me think. Grab her feet.
Guys, where are we taking her?
My car. We'll dump her somewhere. Grab her purse. Get her debit card. We'll stop the bank machine.
Yeah, that was another kind of short but sweet little horror film.
The bald man must have struck our heroine very hard indeed to cause death. I strike Eleanor often, and she hasn't died on me. Yet. Poor Eleanor. I'm just joking. I have only love for you. Now, it's time for my bath. Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight's slice of cinema is about a woman who must keep a close eye on the clock, for she suffers from severe bouts of, well, watch and see. This one is called Bloodbath.
Yeah, Bloodbath. I think this one was Julie's idea. Julie Whalen there on the right. I think she came up with this concept, and then I wrote the script for it. I can't remember. I don't think we shot this all. Yeah, I guess we couldn't have shot all together because some of this was like during the day and some of it's at night. But I remember some of the night stuff here. It was kind of at the end of a long day, and things were kind of falling apart, and there's scheduling problems and mix-ups, and and it was very stressful. But this here is a bar downtown Edmonton on Jasper Ave. Crap, I can't the Ice House, something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, the owner was nice enough to let us shoot in here for a few different projects.
Are we doing okay here?
Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Here's Sam Au is.
Got somewhere to be?
Sorry, no, I just.
I kind of wanted. One of the reasons I chose Elena to play the main character in the wraparound story was that she was not in any of the shorts because I met her more recently, and Sam was also in it, and I didn't want someone that would also appear in the shorts because it would cause confusion. So we have that one little bit there with Sam, but I figured that with his facial hair that you couldn't really recognize him.
I like to know what time it is. Habit, I guess.
I was worried I was boring you or something.
No, not at all. You seem great.
Thanks. So do you. These first days can surely be awkward, eh?
Oh, that's Rohit there. He was great to work with, but he has that accent, and I think people may not have understood everything he said there, but he was saying these first dates are sure awkward.
This is definitely one of the better ones.
Now, there was a scene, I can't remember if we shot it or not. It was definitely in the script. I can't remember if we shot it, but there was a scene of them back at home, back at his house, kind of getting drunk. But instead I cut that and we just go straight to them in bed here, and I think that's my bass guitar there, and for some reason there's looks like golf clubs or something.
What's the rush? What happened to your face?
Don't look at me!
So obviously we could see something's wrong with her face, we just can't see what. There's James and Laura. It was funny, this church here, that we'll see again later, that we're in the parking lot of it right now, and as we were filming there, someone from the church kind of came out and asked us what we were doing. We thought they were going to kick us out because we technically didn't have permission to be there, but we told them we were filming a movie, and they thought that was pretty cool. This church here.
Hi.
Oh. That was Ashton right there that you might recognize as Coach Hicks from Grotesque. And here we are in my old apartment again. As we can see, Julie's face looks normal. Now it looks like she's starting to get some sores on her face.
I read the first chapter. All I can say is amazing. If the rest of the book is the same quality, you've got yourself another bestseller.
Now it's looking
Glad
worse.
you like it.
Hot Press called. They want to interview you.
Great, they can call me.
No, they want you in the studio sometime this week. You can't be a recluse forever, Victoria.
Okay, fine, just give me at least a day's notice. I need to be really careful with my schedule.
Of course, anytime she wants to go out, she has to murder someone.
Hey.
There's Maya Molly. I always felt kind of bad because Maya's a great actor, but for some reason it just ends up, she always, whenever I cast her, it's always for like a very small part. She was in Hot Box. She was the girl when the three religious people come in, and then Maya comes twirling by and kisses Barry on the cheek, and then he says, he's like, "Do I have AIDS now?" That was Maya, and then here she is here where she just kind of sees Julie and runs away. So I want to give Maya a fairly big role coming up because she's been so helpful in playing these bit parts, and I really want to use her talents more. And yeah, that's Christina Callicott's makeup. Looks so good.
Excuse me.
And here we have Elizabeth Chamberlain, as the.
Do you know if this is?
I call her like the angel, just because she's dressed in all white, which just seems weird that she would be out at night dressed like that.
Lansdowne? Oh my god, are you okay?
And yeah, this blood, I remember, kind of Julie came up with the idea. We thought it was cool, and just to come up, like, trying to get the right consistency with the blood and everything, and getting that much of it to fill a bathtub, it ended up being a lot harder and more expensive than anticipated. And it made a huge mess, too. And I remember after we filmed all of this, like, we filmed this stuff in the bathtub, and then we went out to outside because we had to wait for dark. We went out to shoot the stuff that we just watched in the previous scene. And I remember I came home and my roommate Adam had come home and we didn't tell him what we were doing. So he came home and then we drained the bathtub, but of course it was still blood everywhere. And yeah, he was like scrubbing out the tub and I was like, dude, we would have done that ourselves. But yeah, he thought it was quite amusing. She bathes in blood, and then she looks good. There's Elizabeth draining blood. So I guess the question is, especially since Elizabeth is wearing white, is how did Julie bleed her out without getting blood all over her clothes? I imagine she has some sort of apparatus we couldn't see that was above the bathtub where she could cut her throat and then it would all bleed out, and then she cleaned her up a bit. Because, if she has to do this every time she leaves the house, she would have become fairly proficient at, getting the blood out of a body and disposing of it without creating too big of a mess.
Do Victoria's bathing preferences remind you of anyone we know? Perhaps Victoria is Helenor's mother.
My mother is dead.
Oh, right. I forgot. Hanged herself, poor thing. Imagine having Helenor as your offspring. Didn't your Satanist ex-boyfriend die too?
Yes.
Everyone in your life befalls a tragic fate. Don't stand too close to me.
So this all kind of just seems like funny little, back and forth they're having here. But as you'll see later, that it actually has meaning to it.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Lock your doors, gentle viewers, for you never know who might be creeping in unannounced. For all you know, it could be Helenor, the Gore-Girl.
I will come for you.
Pathetic, isn't she? Tonight's tale is a quick one called London Fog.
So London Fog, this is one that was both written and directed by Kristen Breitkreitz. So I think this is the only short film in this whole thing that I did not write or direct. But I was there and it was in my apartment, so I guess I do have some part of it.
Where the hell are you? I'm sorry.
There's Skylar
I didn't
Radzian
know that I
again.
was running late. Well, Jimmy still hasn't shown up. I need all the help I can get. Jimmy? Really? It's not like him.
You two are really stressing me out here.
Just give me a few minutes. I'm gonna just finish getting ready and then I'll give you a call back.
Oh, make it quick.
Actually, it's funny, this shot here, with him looking up like that, that was actually not a shot we got, that we just had the camera rolling, and we were supposed to call him to tell him, because we were upstairs in the 13th floor of the building, and he was across the street in that parking lot. We were supposed to call him to kind of give him instructions. And after we got the last shot, we had not called him yet to tell him, like, okay, we're done, come back up or whatever. So he was standing there, and he finally walked up, and he kind of looks up, kind of like what the hell are we doing? And we got it on camera, so I thought it looked good, so I added it in.
Any film that starts with a boiling kettle isn't likely to have a happy ending. Eleanor, can you explain the meaning to us?
It's open for viewer interpretation.
And that's kind of my understanding of it. I'm not sure if Kristen had a definite meaning for that film. I don't quite get it, so I just figured it was open to viewer interpretation, so I had Eleanor express that.
Don't use words you don't understand. The meaning is completely obvious.
Then why don't you explain what it meant?
Because I don't take orders from you, I give them. Now, I'm feeling tense. Rub my shoulders. Eleanor is good for some things after all.
I think I kind of just wrote these in as red herrings that you figured like something would happen here in this house. So she kind of hears a noise.
Mr. Wallace?
People will think something's going to happen, but it doesn't.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Sometimes I think my gore-dipped co-host, Eleanor, is a robot, full of nothing but grinding gears and circuit boards.
I am not a robot.
Good work, idiot. You just gave away the title of the film that was supposed to be my line. Tonight's short film is called I Am Not a Robot.
Yeah, so this one, I Am Not a Robot, I kind of debated whether or not to include it in here. We shot it as part of Horror Weekend, even though technically it's kind of sci-fi, I guess. It's not horror, but it's still a genre film, so I decided to put it in anyway. And here we have Elizabeth playing the main role.
Aurora.
That's Gay Andrews there as the
Do you know
scientist.
why you're here, Aurora?
I know the basic details.
We filmed this at Grant MacEwan University in Edmonton. We filmed some other stuff there, and they're usually pretty cool about... You kind of got to jump through some hoops to get in there, but they're very accommodating, and there's so many like great-looking locations within the school.
You sent. Prepared my questions based on your suggestions. Do you want to see them?
That won't be necessary.
And I got the idea of this from just on like a website or something, the little CAPTCHA things where it says, you know, you got to click and it says, I'm not a robot. I just saw that and that kind of led to this story.
Our research in robotics and AI has surpassed all others. We're at the point of showing off what we've been working on all these years. Our mission has been to create an artificial human that is indistinguishable from an organic one. That's where you come in. We have two subjects. One, a robot, our creation. The other, a human.
I have to guess which one is which.
Exactly. We want to see if an average person can tell the difference. You'll be given 5 minutes with each subject. When you're finished, Dr. Beckett will bring you back here and you'll tell me your discoveries.
So, is this some kind of practical joke?
No, at least I don't think so.
The ad was kind of vague.
I can't tell you the details. I'm just going to ask you a few questions.
And this actor, what's her name, Aaliyah or something like that? She was great. She was awesome. She came up from Calgary to be in this. It's the only time I've ever worked with her. Hopefully I'll get another chance soon.
They said they couldn't tell me what I'm doing here, so I'm guessing there's no point in asking you, is there?
Not really.
Whatever. I'm just here for the $50.
So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. What is your favorite type of music?
I listen to all kinds.
Rock.
What tastes better, chicken or electricity?
Chicken.
Electricity isn't food.
What is love?
A chemical reaction in the brain.
I don't know.
Answer this riddle. If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you don't have me. What am I?
I'm pretty sure I just Googled riddles and then picked one because I'm not really good at coming up with them on my own.
I don't know. Love?
A secret.
That's dumb.
If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you don't have me.
And the room where we're doing this, even now I don't like it. It's too plain. Some like that area where they were talking in the office at the beginning, that looked pretty cool. And as you'll see in the very last shot, it's kind of a neat looking kind of futuristic space. But this is just one of the classrooms we found. And I remember when we were scouting this location, I can't remember if we found somewhere and then we ended up not being able to use it, or on the day we were just wandering around kind of frantically looking for somewhere, because there was students around for a lot of it too, and some of the rooms were occupied, and we had to pick somewhere where we'd have privacy and quiet. And this is the best option we could find, and it just it's not the ideal location. It's got that whiteboard there. It looks kind of ugly. I just wish we could have found a better space, but I guess we had to just deal with what we could find.
What am I? I think there should be a time limit.
Okay, fine. I give up. What is it?
A secret. Finish this simple story. A woman comes home from the store and finds a man in her house. What happens next?
She was relieved when she realized it was her father.
The man strangles her. She was his third victim.
Last question. Are humans good or evil?
Evil.
Some people are good, some evil.
Pick one.
I can't. Both answers would be wrong.
How did it go?
Good. I got some interesting answers.
Aurora, why didn't you ask each one directly if they were a robot?
Well, they probably would have lied.
So what is your conclusion? Which one is a robot?
It's hard to tell. They both act and look just so human. I hope the man is the robot. I'd hate to think a sentient artificial intelligence would consider love nothing but a chemical reaction, immediately think of violence in a proposed situation, and consider the human race inherently evil.
Your job is to tell us which one is a robot, not which one you want to be a robot.
Now, this, the ending, it's technically supposed to be a surprise, but even when I wrote it, I wasn't under the impression that people would not be able to figure out. So it's really not a twist. I mean, it's kind of obvious if you've watched any sort of science fiction before. I just couldn't think of any sort of twist that wouldn't be just completely kind of contrived. So I just decided to, make her the robot, which I figured everyone would figure out, but it's just supposed to be an interesting story. It's not really supposed to shock anyone.
The woman is the robot. Am I right?
No.
So the man is? Good.
No. Hour off.
So the shot coming up here, right here, this was done on a different day. This was shot in my house. I think we were filming something else and we needed to get this close up. So we just had whoever our makeup artist was for this day, we just had them put that little fake bit of skin on there, and then we had some sort of mini SD card that we used as the chip.
Bring this to Peter. Tell him we'll be ready in an hour.
What do you want to do with it?
Take it to the cleaners, then have R&D pick it up.
those people in the background there, those were just students that, or people that happened to be in the school at the time. See, this is a really cool looking room here. We were up on some balcony, like on the floor above, and kind of fade out here, but it's actually like really cool looking.
I bet you're one of those self-described Einsteins who boasts they figured it out before the end.
Yeah, I had some people online that were, thought they were super smart and were kind of saying how easy it was to figure out, which, like I said, I didn't really intend to trick anyone because anyone would have been able to figure that out. So I kind of just had to, kind of point out how stupid it is that people thought they were clever for figuring it out.
Admit it. Bravo. If you are, write the station with your address so we can send Eleanor to kill you in your sleep.
I'll do it.
Of course you will. That's why I lock my doors at night. Until next time, stay away from robots.
If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you don't have me. Huh.
Using Eleanor as a footrest.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Tonight I thought I'd put up my feet and watch a show. This one is about an evil woman whose son turns out not to be the person she thought he was. In fact, he turns out to be the last person she wanted. This one is called Reincarnate.
So that's Pierce Briggs there. He was also the little boy in Soccer Mom. And, he's a bit older now, and he was actually just recently in the movie they shot called Chasing Midnight that I wrote the script for. So he's gone on to some, much bigger productions.
Oh, when are you moving?
August 1st.
Vancouver's expensive,
Yeah, I know. Everybody I told has said that. I still have most of the money that Mike left me. I'll be fine.
Well, I better get going. Bus comes in 5 minutes. You coming Friday?
We'll see.
All right. Bye, Daniel.
That's Mike Reed on the right. You might recognize him from the first movie in this anthology, The Painting of Ebony Shaw. He was the guy with the beard at the beginning. And it's James Smith on the right, on the left there, who is kind of one of our art department guys.
Mommy, that's the man who killed me.
What?
The man with the beard, he killed me.
Sweetie, you're not dead. You're standing right here. Come on, let's go.
Mom, I remember where my body is now.
What? Daniel, listen to me. How did you know about that body being there?
I remember the bad man killing me and dragging me there.
But you're not dead, sweetheart.
Not me. The old me.
What do you want?
Have you been talking to my son?
I haven't even talked to you in 7 years.
Well, he knows all about it.
About what?
It. He told me where you buried Mike's body. I went out there and found it buried under a bush at Taylor's Park.
That's impossible. I didn't tell anyone where I put him, not even you. He must have overheard you talking about it.
I did not tell my son that we killed his father and buried him in the woods.
See, there is some confusion over this part, which I kind of understand. Like, people assume that the boy overheard her say that, which in my mind, it was supposed to look like maybe he heard, maybe he didn't. But I always figured that he didn't hear her say that. But I guess maybe it's my fault the way I directed it. I should have made it obvious that he was standing a lot further away, because where he's standing is kind of on the other side of the parking lot, so it wouldn't make sense that he'd be able to hear. But just the way we kind of cut it together, it's people assume that he overheard it. Someone, I can't remember if it was like a YouTube comment or somewhere online, some guy commented, he's like, when your son finds out that you murdered his dad, dinner's gonna be awkward or something like that, which I thought was pretty funny. And it's funny because all those pictures there, those are Julie's actual family.
You thought you could get away with it, didn't you? You thought you could kill me and take my money. Well, I'm back, sweetheart, and I remember everything.
And I remember Pierce had a hard time holding that axe because, you know, he was very small and the axe was really heavy, so he kind of had to, I wanted him to hold it up higher, but he had to hold it like that because it was too heavy for him.
Daniel, no! Raise your hand if you've ever been struck violently with an axe. I meant normal people, Eleanor. 8 years old and our little man already knows the taste of revenge.
Revenge will taste so sweet.
Stick to your lines, Eleanor. No one wants your inner monologue.
So now we're kind of hinting that Eleanor is going off script and, you know, things are going to get progressively worse from here.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. I apologize for eating on camera, but I'm starving. My co-host screwed up royally in preparation for tonight's show, and I spent so much time berating her that I missed dinner.
It wasn't my fault you took so long in makeup.
Everything is your fault. Now, wipe up those crumbs on the floor. Take some pride in the studio.
Oh, poor Eleanor.
At least I enjoy normal food. Unlike the woman in tonight's story, this one is called The Hunger.
Come on, Cora, I just want to talk.
Go away, Charlie. I'm done with you.
Here we are back in my apartment. This was for Horror Weekend. This was one of the ones we did. As you could see there in the left, like I pointed out in Painting of Ebony Shaw, we have the yellow cloth taped over top of that vent.
You guys were together 2 years. You owe him a reason for breaking up with him. You can't just ghost him. Don't tell me what to do with my life. You can't keep shutting everyone out, Cora. You're bringing my mother into this again? She's the only family you have left. Whatever. Who needs family anyway? Are you okay? You look pale or something. Are you sick? No. But I am hungry.
Are you hungry?
There's Craig Hamlock. He's been in quite a few of our projects.
Buy about the groceries.
And the main character there is Sarah Louise. You might recognize her from Hot Box. She was the mushroom girl who was in part of the movie.
Happy pizza.
Hi, I'd like to make an order for delivery.
And there's Hudson Grace, who was also in Soccer Mom.
I bet you're still hungry, right?
Where's your mom?
Where's yours?
You're hungry, aren't you?
It's kind of hard to see her, but that's Julie Whalen there.
You're hungry. You should eat.
Get away from me.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
My dear, you don't look fine. You look like you're starving. You really need to eat.
That's George Andrews. He was nice enough to buy beer for the crew afterwards, which everyone was happy with. He is married to Gay Andrews, who was the female scientist in I Am Not a Robot.
Mom?
It's me, Cora. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think you know why. Normally I wouldn't be talking to you, except...
Except what, dear?
I'm scared. I just have all these people coming up to me and I feel like I'm going insane.
You always were a worrier. Why don't you come by for a visit? I'll cook up something for you to eat. You must be starving.
What's the emergency? Why weren't you at work?
So this scene here, you could tell they're both sweating. It was so freaking hot in that apartment. There was some kind of like heat wave, so it was insanely hot outside. But not only that, but the heat in my building was broken, so the heat was on full blast. So not only was it like sweltering hot, but we had like heat constantly pumping out of the vents in the apartment, and it was like 1,000,000 degrees in there. And pretty much everyone, we had like 12 different fans in that apartment, and someone even brought this like big kind of like industrial fan. So anytime we yelled cut, everyone would crank on these fans and it would like blow air through it, and then all of a sudden, time to shoot again, so we had to kill the fans. And as soon as they turned off the heat, you could just feel it rise by like 20 degrees, and you could just see how badly the actors are sweating there. So we're trying to like redo their makeup and wipe the sweat off of them, but it was definitely uncomfortable.
So who do you think they are?
I don't know. I've never seen any of them before. But they're all saying the same thing.
What do you mean?
I'm always starving. I first noticed it on my birthday, and it's been getting worse since then. No matter how much I eat, I'm still hungry.
Have you gone to see a doctor about it? Maybe it's some kind of eating disorder?
No. But what scares me the most is that I have a hunger for...
For what?
This neighborhood we went to here, it's kind of right against the river valley, so kind of right behind the camera there's a bunch of trees, and then it kind of slopes down into the river valley. And it's a fairly quiet neighborhood. We didn't have a huge crew, but there was quite a few people there. And apparently someone called the cops because as we were filming this part here, I could see why. Someone looks out their window, like right across from this there were houses, even though it's kind of like a little park, but you could see this. So people looked out their window and saw some dude on a table and a bunch of people in robes standing around. God knows what they thought. And then all of a sudden we're trying to film, and all of a sudden the police helicopter's flying over top of us, like shining its spotlight down on us. And I was like, ah, shit. We've had problems before with kind of police showing up, and we don't want things to escalate. In the worst case scenario, and best case scenario, it just slows us down because it was quite late at night at this point. Luckily, they must have figured out what we're doing when they saw the camera and stuff, so they never actually came by. But so all these people here that are in the robes are people that we've seen throughout the movie so far, like throughout this short film. There's Craig. The mom's the only one we haven't seen yet.
Welcome home.
Hi, Cora.
Mom, what's going on?
We always knew you'd make it in your own time.
What are you doing with Charlie?
Well, you're hungry, aren't you?
Yes, God, yes, I'm so hungry.
You won't be after this.
And I remember this was so hard to shoot. Christian Richmond was our DP for it. And something happened, and like our lights ran out of batteries, or there was just some sort of issue where we didn't have enough lights to light it. So I think we had like maybe one light on it, and then we had like a bunch of flashlights, and it was a really, kind of amateur job, I would say, of lighting the scene. I was like even just looking through the on the monitor, it just looked too dark and it looked kind of crappy. I thought that I was honestly prepared we'd have to scrap this entire film and not release it because the whole climactic scene just looked so bad. But at the end of the day, I think it looks passable. I've stopped, at first I kind of hated it, but now when I watch it, I'm hoping people pay attention to the story and I kind of forget that it's not lit the way I wanted. I think it looks decent enough.
A coven of witches, a cabal of cannibals, a bunch of weirdos like Eleanor hangs out with in real life. Whoever they were, they seem like a fun bunch. Maybe I'll ask if I can join them in their next outing.
Can I come?
Nope.
Speaking of food, I'm hungry. Where is this guy?
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. The young fellow in tonight's story hates his job. Even if one hates one's job, there's always quitting time to look forward to. But what if quitting time never came? This one is called The Telemarketer.
So the Telemarketer, this one, it was one that I wrote, but I did not direct myself. This one was actually made in Texas. Yeah, Jeremy Decker, I think that's his name. I can't remember how I met him online somewhere, but he was looking for short horror scripts, so I sent him this one, The Telemarketer, and he liked it. So he ended up producing that down in Texas, and it turned out fairly well. So you'll notice this one's done with a completely new crew and different actors who you won't see in any other of these films.
Hello, my name is Craig. I was wondering if I could have a minute of your time to talk to you about...
And I kind of wrote this because, everyone hates telemarketers, and the only thing worse than getting called by them is having to be one of them. I've had a couple of those jobs. One was years ago when I was in college. I think I lasted 4 days before I got fired. It was so terrible. And then, a few years later, kind of the mid-2000s, I worked for a collection agency. Again, I think I lasted 2 days before I quit. It's the most horrible work ever. So I just kind of imagined what it would be like being stuck in a job that was the worst possible job ever, and this is what I came up with.
Hello, my name is Craig. I was wondering if you had a moment for me to talk to you about...
Glad you're back, Craig.
Please don't. Shit.
So this part here, there's a couple parts that Jeremy added to the film that weren't in my original script. My original script is a bit more simple. It didn't have this part.
Hello, my name is Craig.
It didn't have the bit with the photocopier or the part you'll see later where he comes in from outside.
Hello, my name is Craig, and
This wasn't in my script either.
Hello, my name is Craig, and I was wondering if...
Yeah, he added this in. So I wanted to make it look like he never left this building. No matter what happened or what he did, he would just always be back to his desk kind of thing. That's honestly what it was like, having to go to work at those places every day, just non-stop rejection and just knowing that you're irritating people and you have to read the same script and people would just like hate you for it. That was a bad job. I like this guy that plays the boss, even though you never get to see his face.
Craig.
Hello, my name is Craig. I was wondering if you had a minute to talk about...
Glad you're back, Craig. Glad you're back.
So I guess it's never really established if, maybe he's like in hell or something and he did something to deserve this, or, he's stuck in some kind of a time loop. It's never really explained, but in a short film, I think it's better not to explain it, to just kind of get to the point of it.
Hello, my name is Craig. I was wondering if you had a moment for me to talk to you about...
Do you enjoy your job, Eleanor?
Yes.
Wonderful. But I don't see anyone else showing up at the station caked in blood and viscera.
I can't help it.
Makes me wonder what you do in your private life.
So now we're starting to kind of get some stronger hints at what's to come between these two.
Come to my house and I'll show you.
Not on your life, Eleanor. As for Craig, the fellow in tonight's story, do we think he'll ever find peace? Do we want him to? Perhaps he deserves his predicament.
His job is even shittier than mine. Didn't think that was possible.
Welcome. I'm your host, Ezzera Eve, and this is the 4 a.m. Film Fright Fest. Children have such foolish fears, don't they? Though I suppose Eleanor is a full-blown adult and her list of phobias is as thick as the phone book.
I have no fears.
Keep telling yourself that, dear. This one is called Under the Bed.
Yeah, so Under the Bed, this was made right around the same time as I'm in Love with a Dead Girl, I think. This one was directed by Jarvis Greiner. He also directed my feature-length script, John 3:16, which turned out to be a very good movie. It won a bunch of awards and stuff. But before doing that, Jarvis wanted to do like a very simple short film just to kind of get practice. And it was actually my my roommate Adam who came up with this original concept, and he kind of wrote a rough draft of a script, and I just took it and kind of improved it. So I think Adam and I have co-writing credits on this, but this was a very early film that we made, and this is one of the rare occasions I'm almost never on set for like any movie that I'm not directing myself. Like honestly, this might even be the only time ever where I've been on set for something that I'm not directing myself, and I always find it kind of weird. I'm so used to directing, so I'm always doing something. When I go there as a writer, I'm basically watching, so I'm kind of hanging around and don't know what to do with myself. It's kind of strange. But this is Mike Charnet's house again. That's Mike Charnet right there. We filmed it at his house, and it's Afton Rentz who's playing the mom.
Monsters under here? Hello? Riley? Come look, sweetheart. There's no monsters under here, okay?
But I saw it. I know there was one.
There's no monsters, sweetheart. You're safe, okay? Go back to bed.
But what if it comes back?
Sweetheart, there was never anything under your bed, and there isn't ever going to be, okay? Please, hey, don't wake us up again. Okay, honey.
There's something under the bed.
Always listen to children. They're smarter than you suspect. On an unrelated note, do you think that Eleanor washes herself every night before going to bed? Or do you think she sleeps like this?
I'm always dirty.
You certainly are, Eleanor. That must be why our viewers send you so much fan mail. Although, I don't ever see anyone from the studio.
Now we're seeing that Natalie is becoming somewhat entranced by watching these.
Video offering you a ride home. Who wants their seats covered in, well, you.